Yes, thanks, Ron. Thanks for the great introduction. Yeah, so one of the things I would like to first of all clear out is that, Chat GPT is kind of a marketing buzz right now. So what I'm going to talk about is what's called the Azure OpenAI service. As we get into more detail, I'm going to explain the difference of what ChatGPT is, what OpenAI is, and what Azure OpenAI is, because chat gpt is just the term that everyone understands, but under the hood, it's a different terminology, different technology. So we'll understand those difference. And I am a cloud solution architect at Microsoft. There is my personal website. It's my full name, arunansabatnai.com, if you would like to connect later. So uh, I have like 50 slides. I'll try to get as quickly as I can. This is the overall Azure AI portfolio that Microsoft has, right? And it's from high level functionality to a low level implement. That's kind of how it's structured. So right at the top, you have your applications, which are SaaS applications like Microsoft 365, which is your Office app, the Dynamics 365, and partner solutions. These are SaaS applications that have AI embedded in them that you can use right away. Then right under it is, these are kind of what I call the customizable SaaS apps. Right. So you have your Power Apps, Power Virtual Agent, Power BI. Power BI is a reporting tool with Power Apps and Power Automate. You can build a UI using drag and drop components, and Power Virtual Agent will allow you to build a chatbot similar to ChatGPT using drag and drop components. Right? So under that, we have a set of cognitive services. These are pre-trained AI models which are purpose built for specific purposes, right? For example, the bot service is what a chatbot would use to connect it to a bot, right? There is cognitive search that can allow you to create an enterprise search out of all the data you have within your enterprise. There is form recognizer. There's an OCR tool that can scan your PDF document, extract text out of it, and create summary. The video indexer can extract text out of a video and say what's happening within the video, right? So these are all pre-trained models that you just use them out of the box. These models also allow you to be customized, right? So with the custom cognitive services, you take a base model and then you custom train it using your own data. So it recognizes your specific data, your specific terminology. For example, Vision API, you can train it using your employee images. So you can have a camera detect whether a person entering the office is your employee or an outsider, right? As an example. So the cognitive services is trained on data set that's public data set or Microsoft owned data set, but it does not have access to your data. And using custom AI models, you can train it with your custom data. So the data is your own, the model stays your own, and you can use it to custom train using your data, right? So the Azure OpenAI service falls under this custom AI model, and this is a new generation of AI model. We'll talk about that later. And then we have our Azure machine learning platform, which is a platform that you can use to custom code your AI model if that's what you want to do. Right? Now, AI, the brief history, the artificial intelligence started way back in 1956 as a science to kind of mimic human behavior. So the machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence. Then the deep learning with neural network, it started, and then now generative AI is a subset of that, where the purpose is to generate something, to generate text, images, or videos, right? OpenAI is a company that was founded with the mission to ensure that artificial general intelligence, which is the mimicking human behavior, benefits humanity. And that goes in line with Microsoft mission statement, which is empower every person and organization on the planet to achieve more. So this partnership started forming way back in, I think, 2019, where Microsoft started investing in OpenAI, and OpenAI started using the Microsoft Azure infrastructure to start training the model. And now the partners, because of that partnership, now we have this service called Azure OpenAI service. Now, to go back to the question of Chat GPT, well, under the OpenAI, there are a set of models. Right? There is Codex, there is different versions of GPT. So GPT stands for generative pre-trained model, right? So there is GPT-3, 3.5, now there is GPT-4, right? So Chat GPT was a chat interface on top of the GPT 3.5 model. But now we have GPT-4 available under Azure OpenAI service, and this service allows you to, create writing assistance. You can create documents or reason over structured, unstructured data. You can summarize text or create chatbots. So, what is the advantage of Azure OpenAI instead of going and using OpenAI by itself, right? So Azure is built for enterprise, right? OpenAI created the machine learning model, but to use it in an organization, there are certain enterprise level features that are needed, right? So these include, securing your data, which includes your prompt, the additional data that you might use to fine tune the model, to customize the model further. All this data needs to be within your subscription, an environment that you control, that nobody has access to, and you need to have an access control enforcement so that only you can access the model and nobody else can see the model or even the inputs that's given to the model, because the input that you're giving to the model might also contain some sensitive information about your organization, right? On top of that, one of the primary concern about using AI is that it could be used for something bad, or it can cause disruption. So Microsoft has a framework. This framework existed way before OpenAI with our older cognitive services model. And the framework kind of ensures that the AI that's used is, first of all, fair, that gives everyone equal opportunity. It's explainable, so you understand how it works. So you can explain question coming from an auditor about, how are you doing this? You have to be able to reason how a decision was made. If partly the decision was made by AI, there are counterfactual. You have to be able to explain exactly what data point causes it to respond in a certain way. There is a causal analysis around how this AI plays out in the real world. Is this going to be used to, take decision about something important about a person's life, like giving them, housing loan or giving them job, something like that, right? And there is error analysis to understand that how accurate is the prediction and how accurate is the response coming from the AI. So the Microsoft Responsible AI framework uses all these to create a PDF summary that you can give to your technical, non-technical user to kind of have an assessment of are you using AI responsibly or not. So along with the enterprise security, there is responsible AI that is built into Azure OpenAI service that you would otherwise not get if you have to use OpenAI, the base model, and then it's up to you to implement all this on your own. But with Azure, you get all this framework and security built on top of the OpenAI models, right?
Hey, Arun.
Yes.
Rajev from PNC asked some questions about hype versus reality, impact on jobs and financial services. As I alluded to in my initial comments, it's hard to make any comments. A lot of this is very industry and job specific. We can talk about this offline. What we're trying to do here is let people know about the technology. My personal take is that you might as well get ahead of the curve. If everyone's worried about their jobs, you hear about things like, can ChatGPT code? There are certain industries like Chegg, which does online tutoring for my kids, which is going to be significantly impacted in the future. There are going to be other scenarios where I think, as opposed to job loss, it's job changing. It's the same thing that happened with cloud and virtualization. It's not like the number of jobs in IT cut in half. It just meant that people did things differently. And I think that's the key takeaway. There are going to be a lot of people who have to understand confidentiality with AI, who owns the intellectual property. How do you go about leveraging AI, but still making sure that your own particular solution is available for only PNC and not available for other banking institutions? How do you take the best of ChatGPT, but still make sure that your proprietary initiatives are covered? How do you make sure you're still in compliance with the number of FINRA and data locality laws that are so critical in financial services? How do you structure it so, God forbid, your data doesn't get out there? Those are some of the implications from this in a similar sense, and I'm answering this for Rajesh and everyone else that are coming out there. You might as well get ahead of the curve. That's what we're trying to do, is expose you to this. So instead of being off to the side, like someone's job 15 years ago, they might have thought, well, I'm just maintaining desktop computers, and my job every Tuesday was to fix all the Microsoft upgrades. If they didn't take advantage of AngelBeat knowledge and recognize that all desktops are going to be centrally managed, they were in trouble. But I know people like that came to our events and they changed their job. So that's my takeaway, is to listen and learn. We're going to hear from Arun. We've got other content later on from AWS and Google, and other, as well as subsequent events about this. So that's really the takeaway. There's no blanket answers, but you just need to learn and stay ahead of the curve. Just like you became a strategic architect if you were a systems administrator or network admin, and your job no longer involved racking Cisco routers and switchers in your basement data center room, so too will AI create new opportunities as long as you're aware of it. That's my take. I don't know what you have to say, Arun.
Yeah, I mean, what I normally say is, AI is not going to take up jobs, but people who use AI are going to have a competitive advantage over people who don't. So definitely it helps to get a head start to maintain that competitive edge now and in future. Okay. And coming back to your security concern, Microsoft Cloud runs on trust. So this is where there is the value differentiation of Azure OpenAI versus OpenAI itself, right? With using Azure OpenAI on Microsoft Cloud, your data is your data, right? So you have a set of protection mechanism, both in terms of network firewall that prevents access to your data from outside, and encryption and data masking. All these features allow you to use your data to customize the model and still be confident that you're not going to have data leak, right? With the set of models that OpenAI has, one of the model is Codex, which is used to train the model on understanding programming languages and assist in writing code. Right? Using that model, GitHub produced what's called a GitHub Copilot, which can be your AI pair programmer, which can assist in writing a lot of code that you normally look up internet and copy paste or something, right? And there are lots of videos on it, how Copilot produced an entire website within a few seconds. The latest version is the GitHub Copilot X, which is built on GPT-4. So definitely try it out. So the way it works is you have your OpenAI Codex model, and then GitHub consumes it and provides it that enterprise level security and access control, and that can be consumed by your IDE to produce that code suggestion as you start writing a code. Right. Similar to GitHub, some of the other services at Microsoft, like Microsoft 365, Viva Sales Insight, Bing, and Dynamics also have their own Copilot. For example, Microsoft 365 Copilot uses your data, which is mostly your Office document and email, along with the large language models from Azure OpenAI, they can live inside your Microsoft 365
You can
apps.
start by asking Copilot to summarize all your recent customer interactions, meetings, content you've shared, any issues, and deliverables. Copilot works across your calendar, emails, chats, documents, and meetings to find all the pertinent information. Now you've got a concise summary, complete with citations and sources. You can hover over names, quotes, and file names to verify information or find out more.
That's just an overview of how Microsoft 365 Copilot works within Teams and across all the other Office apps, right? Viva Sales is another app. So within Teams, Viva Sales lives, and it transcribes your meetings to provide you insight on what was discussed in the meeting, what were the main bullet points, and what are the action items. So you can take that and you can take it to the next level and log it into your CRM. You can generate email out of it, right? Bing now has the Copilot for web. So instead of searching on the web, you can just ask question. This interface is very similar to what ChatGPT, but within Bing we call it the Copilot for web. So you can just start asking it, and it would give you the answer. So you don't have to scroll through a list of links to find out which one you're looking for. Now, Dynamics 365 Copilot also assist in a lot of things like generating email, generating the next task that you should perform with a customer, things like that, right? Security Copilot is our latest. I think Microsoft is the first to have something called a Security Copilot, where AI can take your data, your threat intelligence information using other security tools in Azure, and your product knowledge and product telemetry to come up with an assessment of security risk and perform some of the mitigation and provide suggestions that you might have to review and implement manually. Now, coming to financial services, within financial services, we have three major verticals. There is banking, insurance, and capital market. So we'll see how Azure OpenAI is being used in financial services. And the top 4 use cases are around content generation, summarization, code generation, and semantic search. Right? I will skip through this. Okay, so things that you want to avoid OpenAI for is it's understand that it's a generative model. It can generate content, right? And under the hood, it's a language model. So generative AI, the GPT-4, whatever, ChatGPT, whatever you call it, these are all large language models. So first of all, it's important to understand that these are language models. They generate language. They could generate images and video, but they are content, right? So it should not use it for numerical calculations, right? And try avoiding using it for regulatory needs like risk modeling or credit scoring, right? Like you can use it to assist and maybe automate some of the tasks in between. We'll talk some of the use cases around that, but definitely you cannot just take it directly out of it and implement into a risk modeling where you might get into issues with regulatory requirement, right? So the way to use it is to use it for text analysis and summarization, which so kind of use it with a human intervention to kind of automate parts of the task, but still have a human oversight before you finalize something like a risk modeling or credit scoring, which can have real life consequences, right? Typically the phase in which Azure OpenAI service is implemented in an organization is, we call it Horizon 1, 2, 3, right? In Horizon 1, you want to implement it within your organization to automate some of the internal tasks that does not have external facing visibility. Like it's not really impacting your customer. It's only helping you do your own internal operations faster, right? And that's where you kind of have an opportunity to test out and learn how these models work. And it's kind of a low risk that it is within your organization. If something goes wrong, you have a backup way to kind of fix that, right? And as you gain confidence there, the next is Horizon 2, where you implement the Copilot concept, where you use the AI model to give it to your customer service agent or your advisor. So they use it to generate content. And on top of that, they are not just copy pasting it or giving directly to the customer. They're looking at it, using their own intuition, their own judgment on it, and providing feedback to a customer. So they're kind of using it to speed up looking up information or providing an answer, but they are not really just giving it as is. They are making it their own. So if something is wrong, they have an opportunity to correct it. So, and if that you see is getting very accurate, and you're not having to do too much human intervention, the next Horizon 3 is where you start building products on top of the model. And these are products that you can directly make available to your customers. Right? So within banking, the top use cases are Copilot to assist in customer service case, right? Or in the contact center, gain insight in the contact center. So first is a customer service agent can use something like ChatGPT to ask a question to get some answer that it can use to then give answer to customer more quickly instead of searching through everything, right? And the other case is, maybe you're not using AI yet, but you can use AI to gain insight on your customer service call recordings to understand what's working, what's not working, so you can come up with a better pattern to serve your customers better. And then, in fraud detection, this is a common use case where you can use AI model to come up with a scoring to detect fraud. But on top of it, you should have your own human oversight to understand, what you want to really implement into your fraud risk model, right?
Hey,
Similar, yeah,
Arun, we've
yeah,
got a few minutes left. So I just want to just make sure you're cognizant of that. And as you might
okay.
summarize over the next 2 or 3 minutes, if you could also provide some guidance on the next steps that our Angel Beat audience could take to try and evaluate and deploy this in their own environments.
Yeah. So, I will skip through this and, say a few things around, similar to banking, that is insurance, where, you can use the same type of model to do things like claim processing, empowering agents, similar to empowering customer service agents, right? Because in insurance, claim processing and underwriting, those are typical use cases where document analysis might be useful. In capital market, the same technique can be used to do market research and pitch generation to recommend the right type of product to customer. And customer service empowerment and accessibility are kind of common to almost all use cases. So the way to get started is, how do you get started, right? First, you need to get your data ready in Azure in a way that it can be consumed by Azure OpenAI to fine tune and customize the model. Then you want to build an intelligent app experience using Azure AI. You can start using internally to improve your internal operation productivity, like the GitHub Copilot to improve developer productivity, the Copilot to improve your agents or advisors productivity. And you can start using the Viva Sales Insight to automate some of your sales tasks, right? This is like the Horizon 1 case where this is where everybody starts. So that's where you can get started, and contact your Microsoft account team. They can tell you exactly how to get started.